Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus one more time. Look at here. It is not just a coincidence that I'm constantly coming back to you, but there are things that's happening that are so essential in my personal reality that I find myself having a desire to come back to you and talk to you. You know, I'm speaking most about the presidential candidacy for 2020 because it involves all of us here in America. And we have some trying times ahead of us because we're having them today. And you know you need someone to deliver you from the pain and suffering that you are having. And I stand before you to tell you that the only deliverer is you making the right choice. You have made choices, and we are blessed to have Donald Trump as President of the United States. With Donald Trump, we see evil, bona fide ugliness, stuff that you hate and cannot stand, and yet you recognize there are those that's eating it up. And so I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is choice. Now, let me give you some information, some history about this particular guy that allows him to stand before you today and say the things that he says. First of all, I want you to know that in my lifetime of living, I have found that there are as many people that disagree that God lives as there are people that believe that God exists. There are people who think Jesus is nothing but a figment of imagination handed down for generations and generations and generations. It's right here. There are people that believe that he never existed, just as many as those of you who do. The difference is that those of you who do don't act like you do. You just talk. But those of you who don't, well, you know what you do. Now, when it comes down to me, I will tell you, as I've told you before, I was taught about the existence of God and the whole cadoodle. You know what it is, those of you who were taught the same story. But I've lived long enough to say to you and be bold enough to say to you, I do not know for a fact that God exists. But what I do know, that there's a power that man cannot measure up to. I do know that as a bona fide fact. And it is not just because the earth that we see, which I know man didn't do, can't do. It's not just that all of the resources of the earth that exist that are so essential in the lives of human beings that man couldn't have anything to do with. It's not just that. But it is the miraculous thing that he did for me that if I told you about, you really would not believe. And it's okay with me. Miracles are very hard to believe. In fact, sometimes it's so unbelievable that the ones that receive the miracles can't believe it. However, for me, I must say, I do believe in the power that I can't see, can't touch, can't feel, because of what happened. So to me, it doesn't matter if it was God. I call it God. I can't do it. That's good enough for me. And it doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. I do. And there's something that comes out of that. And for those of you who says, well, forget that. Something else that comes out of that, ladies and gentlemen. And it leads me to say that I consider those acts that I'm still here today makes me obligated to that power that I give that credit to. And I give it in the sense that I received it. It was love. Why? Because it allowed me to continue to exist. And it was most, I tell you, for it to come to me. I've seen it not come to so many others. And yet I know that each of you would love to have it come to you if you ever found yourselves in that position. I can't say whether it will or whether it won't. That's not my responsibility. But it has given me the confidence to be able to stand before you and acknowledge that there's a power so magnificent that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't feel. And because of the way it responded to me, having it to respond to you the same kind of way, the hell that we're living in today would not be here. Now, I've also been given inspiration that is only going to happen if you change your mind. Now, let me take you a little bit up a little bit. I've been telling you I've been out here for 40 years. I was living in Chicago, and I had decided that the pain and suffering that I saw was just too much for me to bear without doing something about it, especially since I knew something that perhaps you don't, since I knew something that perhaps the people in Chicago didn't know. I know that we are not to live the kind of life that we're living, and we do only by choice that's propped up on ignorance. And so I made a decision that I would be an instrument of that power that I am familiar with, that would come before the American people and try to lead them down a different path by my own travels. One day, having lost, should I say, my first wife left me because of that commitment. And one night I remember I had my car packed up with some equipment. I was going to a nightclub. I was going to do some DJ work that night to make some extra money. Well, not really extra money, some money to buy some food. I was on, I believe, 67th or 69th or 63rd in Houston. I remember it by Houston for sure, as if it was happening right now. And my mind was deeply committed, and I was lost in thoughts about the same things that I'm discussing with you right now. And I stopped at 63rd and Loomis. I haven't crossed Ashland. And I stopped at Loomis, and I was at the red light. And I was just there thinking about how wonderful God had been to me and how wonderful God is to all of us if we would allow God to do that and to be that. And as I began to pull off, money started flying out of the air. I mean, I don't know if somebody was on the top of a building dropping money. I don't know if somebody had stole some money and the money started flying in the wind. You know, that's the wind of the city. But the money was just flying, and people would start running, going to get the money. And so I pulled my car over to the side of the road. I couldn't believe it. I had to make sure it was real. So I got out of my car, I grabbed a handful of the money, and I saw it was money. I put the money back down, got back in my car, and went on and did the work that I was supposed to do. The reason I put the money back down is because the money wasn't for me. The money was a message to me. That money was a message to confirm with me that everything that I was visualizing for the human race could come true by the power of God. And it was just as easy as the money flying out of the sky for those who chose God's way as opposed to man's. And that just confirmed it to me, ladies and gentlemen, and I have been out here ever since trying to lift up God in such a way, and it's been very difficult because people have been trained in all kinds of things, all kinds of religions, all kinds of faiths, all kinds of denominations, all kinds of this and all kinds of that, and it, as far as they are concerned, is the special, the only thing that is absolute. And all of it is different when it comes down to one another. And the outcome of that is the world we live in today. The America we live in today. That is the outcome. That is the expression of all that you think you got going on. And so, a few years ago, maybe, well, I guess I was 38 years old, however long that was, I sought after the office of President of the United States. Why? Because the vision that I hold today for America was so fantastic that I was convinced if I shared with the people, because the people said they believed. Everybody said they believed in God. I knew that if it were true, we could change our lives. We could change America, and we could live in America as though we were in heaven. I knew that, and I was excited about it. And I started traveling across the country trying to tell people, see, I didn't have any money. I had no money. The last job I had at that, I think I was working at Bethel College in Minnesota. I took a job washing dishes, making $6 an hour, because I know what's going on as far as the world is concerned and how it has deceived all of us and had me deceived. And I was a great big part of that, you know what I mean? And so I run for office, and nobody paid any attention to it. I mean, literally, no one. What did I talk about? You know what I talked about. And if you got any doubt, just listen to my videos. Here I am, talking about peace and prosperity and freedom and joy and the fulfillment of our dreams. And totally ignore it. Totally ignore it. It was like people were afraid of me. I used to thought they did that because I was black. But no, they were afraid of me because I stood for something that was so fantastic that they ran away. Anyway, I'm going to make a long story short. I've been saying to you that I wouldn't mind standing up representing God's way for you if you're interested, and if you allowed me to go to the power center base in this nation, I'd go there. And I would represent God and you if you were willing to be on the side of God. And here again, I know many of you don't believe in God, but I told you that I give credit to a power that I can't see. And based upon what I have been taught about a God, I call it God. And for those of you who just convinced that it's not God and that I'm stupid, then it's from me. It is inspiration from within me. And I guarantee you I didn't make myself. So, as I speak these things to you, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that the difference between me and most politicians, Donald Trump, the rich man, the smartest man on the face of the earth, the man who can't ever admit that he's done anything wrong, is that I am not the smartest man on earth. I know that as President of the United States, I would definitely need a lot of you. That most of you are as smart as you can be. And that given the opportunity to be who you are dead on the money. And so it is the faith in you and your ability and your commitment for yourselves when you get a chance to experience the truth that I depend upon, and God qualified you to be just that. But anyway, just to prepare me for that particular position, I don't have anything, ladies and gentlemen. 99% of you are dissatisfied with the way this nation is run. Now, many of you got a lot of things going on. You got jobs, you got money in the bank, you can party, you can buy tapes and CDs and go to trips and tours. You can do all these kinds of things. You are benefiting from the system that you live in, the system that I'm putting down, the system that I'm telling you is a disgrace to God and to the human race outside of you. But there are more people who are suffering in this nation and across the globe than those that are not. And it is because of you that I stand and give you the information that things can change if you want them to. Now, in the process of this getting you involved with what I speak about, knowing that you have proven to me that you don't get it, I have committed acts against this system that would, if you didn't respond in a positive sense, I would end up in jail. And I have ended up in jail and gone to prison, and you have not come to my rescue not one time. But I can say God was with me because there was no shame in my game, and I went joyously because I am who I am, being what I am. And if it got me there, I was satisfied. The last time I was in jail, they were running planes into the World Trade Centers. I found out just the other day it's been 18 years. I haven't been in jail in 18 years. That basically means I haven't been doing anything. Not that I want to go to jail. I'm not trying to go to jail. I'm trying to reach the people to take them out of the jails of their minds. And it's been keeping me pretty busy. Not only that, ladies and gentlemen, you got to know that you can trust me. You know it's hard to trust anybody. But this commitment I made in 1978 or 79, and I've been holding true to it. Today, I stand before you, and I have nothing. I have nothing. The house that I live in belongs to someone else. The food that I eat was paid by someone else. The clothes that I wear were given to me from someone else. The car that I have, somebody gave it to me. And it's down and not running right. And if I drive anybody else's car, I got to get their permission. So I'm standing before you telling you I got nothing. And why don't I have anything? Because I made a decision that I had seen the troubles of this world. I see what's going on. And in order for me to have something, I'd have to act like I don't see it. I'd have to engage myself like a blind anybody. Other people, you're not blind. You just don't know any better. But for me to do it, I would be ignorant, stupid, and foolish, having been given the information about what's going on. And so I had to be honest with myself, be honest with the power that was guiding me, and so I had to take myself out of the way. You go out there and make money. Because money, ladies and gentlemen, and let me say it to you, you don't believe it, but I'm going to tell you, money is the world's replacement for God. Let me say it again. Money is the world's replacement for God. Now, I know you don't believe that. I'm not trying to convince you to believe it. I'm just telling you what it is. And since I know this, I don't have any money. In fact, I worked so little in the system, so when I got old enough to retire, I don't get anything beyond, most folks get at least $1,200 a month. I get $200, $300 a month. That's all I got. So I don't really have anything to contribute to those who have given me a house to live in, who have allowed me to drive their cars, who have allowed me to eat by buying my food. Why? Who allow me to, if I go to the doctor, I'm using their health care. I got nothing. I abstracted, taking myself out of the system so I can advocate for the better system. Now, do you think I like this? No, I don't like this. Why? Because I know we can have all our desires met. I know that every material resource that was made available for building any house, building any building, building any infrastructure, any bridge, any step, any car, anything that's made, I know it came from God. And he made it for the benefit of any human being on the face of the earth that would ever want to access it. Yes, for anybody that wanted to access it. We used to live in darkness. We didn't have the lights. But that information became available to us. Why? For people who wanted to be able to see in the dark could have access to lights. And without me going through all of that stuff, ladies and gentlemen, even the telephones you got, the computers, they are made for anybody. That information was given so that anybody who ever wanted to access it could use it. It would be available to them. And the ability for these things to exist, the skills that were necessary, has been embedded in individuals so that they can exercise those gifts and do the things that have been done so that we, the human beings, the people, can receive the glory of the magnificent power you can't see, can't touch, can't feel, but the evidence is all around us. But no. You see, when you engage yourself in that process, and when you play a part in creating all the stuff, the food, the clothing, the shelter, the education, the healthcare, when you engage yourself in that process, that makes you part owner in everything that you have done or that exists. It's just like people today, somebody come up, they start a business and people invest in it. They invest, they put money in it so that this business can go and do the things that it's supposed to do. And as it does it, as it reaps a profit, you who invested in it get something out of it. You become a recipient of some of the returns that is because of your investment. The same thing, when you engage yourself in God's plan, you have access to it and everything that's made. Food, clothing, shelter, education, cars, computers, telephones, trips, vacation. All of these things exist to you because you exercise the gifts that God has given you in the way that God has designed that it is done. And you can have more fun because you don't have to lie, cheat, steal. You don't have to worry about no war. You don't have to worry about no crime, no violence, or anything. And there's not one dime, not one penny, not $1 that's ever needed to acquire any of these things. Now, see, God has given me this, shared this with me. So wouldn't I look like a nut out there working, talking about $15 an hour? Wouldn't I look like a fool out there working for $1,000 an hour? Because I would have put away the information that I have been given for myself. And to hell with you. Now, how did that make me look? No, you won't hear me talking about I'm really rich. You won't hear me talking about I'm really, really, really the smartest man on the face of the earth. No, I know God got that. And outside of God, it takes all of us collectively in our various capacities to lift it up as the thing that's unique and specific and out of sight. And so, when I come to you and say that you've been robbed and that your benefit would come from changing your mind, being born again, and that all of the suffering that you're going through will end because you would have trusted God's plan and forgiveness and stuff that America's riding on, Constitution, which means nothing to those people who don't put no faith in it. Donald Trump is not putting any faith in it. He's doing everything. You got your brothers and sisters right now committing little acts, going to prison, going to jail. Donald Trump isn't. And he's protected by all of the systems that were designed to get you. Those systems are protecting him. Why? Because he is a part of the system of the world. But not me. Not me. Not I. But I do know the truth. I know what's happening. And I know it can change if you the people change. And I know it might be, it's been 40 years I've been out here. And you've been suffering big time. And you mad as hell. But you're scared to change your mind. Because you have been also trained to think that God wants it this way. You've been trained that God would get mad with you if you didn't accept it this way. And I'm talking about the way of the world. But I stand before you today, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm saying that if I can sacrifice all of that to tell you the truth, you can bet your last money, if we agree to change our mind and do it God's way, you will not have me up there trying to rip you off. You won't have me trying to get stuff from you so I can live large. You won't see me up there riding the biggest car, in the biggest mansion, on top of the world, talking about how fantastic I am and how God is blessing me while you working for $15 an hour or on welfare. No, my friends, you can guarantee that that won't happen. So I'm saying to you, you might not be deserving, but it is available to you because God loves you. If you are deserving, you won't even pay any attention to the debate that's going on tonight with some Democrats trying to convince you that they got something for you. Oh, boy. And those of you who are loving Trump, you're blinded as well. I'm not mad with you. I know what will happen. But you don't even have to worry about Trump anymore. You found out that he's a deceiver. Those farmers, those others of you who are losing out because you trusted him, I'm asking you to put your faith in God, not in me. Put your faith in God, believing that that's power that you can't see, that you can't touch, that you can't feel. But the evidence is in what it allows you to do and the things that you have been doing all your life. That's the evidence. That in doing that, you would play a role that would allow you to not do it. I don't care what it is. Be a farmer. Milk cows. You'll never have to worry about a house. You'll never have to worry about anything that you won't desire or need that exists here, made at the hands of the American people or anybody else we trade with. So I'm saying you don't have to worry about me trying to rip you off. Here's the key. Will you rip yourself off? Because in order for us to work together, I'm not asking you for money. I'm not going out publicizing myself, trying to get you to send me thousands of dollars so I can give to the devil's television station. What I mean by devil's television station, those stations will not print anything I'm saying or give me an opportunity to say not one word to you. Why? Because I don't have money. It doesn't matter if everything I'm telling you is absolute truth and they know it. They will not allow it to be presented at that level of the media because they don't want you to know it. Why? Because they are still promoting it, caught up about money. You know it's true. So I'm doing this, ladies and gentlemen, so you will know. And you knowing this information, you might be able to do those things that would, hello? Well, you will be able to do those things that are significant and bring about this major change so that we can create heaven right here on earth. And that's what I am interested in doing. Creating heaven right here on earth, beginning here within the United States of America, exhibiting the power of the Almighty God that people can't see. I'm tired of folks saying that there is no trying to de-justify God. But let's make that agreement. And let us change. And let that light that can't nobody else, Republican or Democrat or America, have ever been able to produce. But it will be produced if you allow God to live in you and you do the work of love. And so, yes, ladies and gentlemen, as I was thinking about that today, I was thinking about how I really don't have anything. I got stung by a bee and I'm swelling up in certain spots and it's itchy. I don't know how much longer I got to be here, but I got to tell it like it is. I'm going to speak the truth. And I ain't complaining that I don't have anything in the system. I'm not mad. That's my choice. But I still want the desires of my heart. But in order for me to have the desires of my heart, you got to have yours. And in order for us to have them together, for us both to have them, we got to do it a certain kind of way. We got to do it a way of love for each other, not just for me, not just for us, but for everybody. What we do will benefit everybody, and we got to know it and from the outset. That is our design, that is our plan, that is our objective, that is our goal. And it's simple, ladies and gentlemen. It's not complicated. It's not complicated at all. You see right now how all of these laws Donald Trump is breaking and ain't thinking about what you say about him? Well, we the people. That's the same thing we could do. Lift up love. And when the devil gets mad, ain't thinking about it. Just keep on loving. Make new rules of love, new policies of love. Work in love and watch the earth change by your power here in America. So if you want to consider what I'm talking to you about, just go to your polls and write in Eddie Marcus. And you got to do it by telling yourselves, telling your kids, telling your family, telling your friends, telling your neighbors, all across the country. Spread the good news that God has a plan to set you free. And the freedom comes in your inalienable rights. That means rights that every human being on the face of the earth got. Living on this earth, you got the right to survive. And you got the right to live like you're in heaven. Unless some devil stop you and you allow it to happen. And what I mean by devil, you might not. Let me tell you, you see what Trump is doing? He's trying to get these sick people who didn't come here, who didn't live here, who were not born here, who came here. He want to kick them out of the country. People who are hurting and suffering, like the ones who came over here. He want to keep them from coming and build up a wall, a border, so you can't run when he really stick it to you like he's doing right now, if you continue to allow him to do it. All of that is before you right now, ladies and gentlemen. And those of you who live in a pretty good life, what I'm talking to you about, I know you can't bite that. You don't want to have anything to do with that. But if the poor of this country, if the poor of this nation decide that they would allow God to stand up and be their master because they don't trust anybody, not one soul that's bought up and promoting the status quo. if they make up their mind that they're committed for change. And the kind of change is that which I have shared with you, or if they got something better, it's acceptable. And then we can go someplace. We can go to bed at night and sleep with peace, with our doors open and windows open. Our cars, if we got them, unlocked. Don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Nobody walking around with guns, because life is too wonderful to even think about stopping somebody. I can tell it to you like it is, ladies and gentlemen, but I think I've said basically what I wanted to say. I've taken about 30 minutes of your time, and I won't bother you any more at this time. But I do have some most recent posts today. You can just look up Eddie Marcus, and I'm the guy with the white hair and the old guy. Look at me as the old guy. They got several Eddie Marcus on YouTube. I don't know how many they got on Facebook. But you just check out the old guy with the white hair and black. And you probably will have me if I'm not talking about magic. I'm not out there trying to promote entertaining singing. Not that I got anything against it. But I'm promoting your love, being fed by the love of God to create more love. As Smokey Robinson in the Miracles would say, more love. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. In the process, in the time that you are away from me, hearing something new, go back to the YouTube. I got thousands of videos. I mean thousands. And you can bet your last money, if I've been talking about, on thousands of videos, I've been talking about basically every subject. And they all wind up glorifying God. Bye-bye.